There's one man all of America was rooting for during the hurricane. He's known as Lieutenant Dan.
You guys remember Lieutenant Dan from the hurricane?
This is Joseph Malinowski.
The safest place to be is on a boat in a flood. Okay, we learned that with Noah.
He's an ocean-going amputee that went viral after attempting to weather not just one, but two hurricanes while living on a small boat.
There he is! There's our guy! Yup, look at him! Yay!
But as with most viral figures who find themselves suddenly in the
spotlight,
spotlight, the man
you guys don't remember him?
his
Yes.
past and personal life would be put under a microscope, raising questions about his character.
Now leave
You got a bunch of money donated to him. He ended up being like a piece of shit. You'll see.
me the f alone and stop trying to request me.
You don't want me to go hood. I'm a chameleon. I can change my act like that.
Damn. Loving
This
him
story
so
is
far,
one of
never
survival
mind.
and social media infamy colliding in calamitous
You'll
fashion.
see.
This is the story of
To
Lieutenant
not
Dan.
forget.
Let me set the scene. It's late September 2024, and Hurricane Helene is threatening
He just like me for real. Low key, bro. If you were from Florida,
the Gulf Coast. While states like North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida were preparing for the disaster, there were many influencers documenting the early stages of the hurricane, letting no good disaster go to waste. In Tampa Bay, you had this guy,
Gotta get that
Terrence
concept.
Concannon, known as Tampa Terrence on TikTok. He would be the accidental discoverer of what would become an infamous internet meme. The story goes
be more tan and crazy, Miami girl. You're gonna kill me. I remember Lieutenant Dan.
that Terrence, who was on his way home from school one day, saw a one-legged man struggling with a sailboat that had been stuck underneath a bridge, and Terrence decided to help the guy out.
When I first saw Joe and met him, his boat was being swept under a bridge, and I was walking home from school, and I saw this guy who looked like he needed help, didn't know his background,
I
didn't know
miss this guy's man. He went viral because he lived on his boat, and when he was told to evacuate, he's like, "No, I'm gonna survive." And somehow he survived on his boat during the hurricanes.
anything about him, so I went up to him, helped him out,
Right
and
back
that's
to
how this
Lulu.
whole thing started.
Terrence and the stranded mariner exchanged pleasantries, and noticing his handicapped one-legged appearance, well, the TikToker couldn't help but think the guy looked like Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump. Nothing really came from this encounter, but it would be the first of many more eventful ones. By September 25th, Hurricane Helene was imminent. Many in the Tampa area were beginning to seriously hunker down and shelter from the storm.
Damn.
And an evacuation
Living in
order was
Florida is just like, all right, guys, we gotta hunker down. Hopefully, we don't get wiped out this hurricane season every year. You're just risking it for a biscuit. Hell yeah, Delulu. Living in Florida, basically. Yeah, we went home from school early. My
put in
life
place.
last year.
And with millions around the U.S. wanting
Kitchen. What
on-the-ground
up,
footage
Kitchen?
of Florida around this time, Tampa Terrence obliged, giving people a front row seat. He would take to TikTok, documenting the rapidly changing Tampa area as the storm approached. And naturally, with
That's
his
crazy.
previous encounter with that guy living on a boat, he wondered,
Good nice weather. There's always California, but then again, like California is like one bad earthquake from sliding into the ocean, apparently. It was like on the San Andreas Fault. Damn. It's been fine, praying it stays that way.
you know, we got a hurricane approaching.
This
What
pizza is
was
gas,
this
bro.
Lieutenant Dan fellow doing? Was he evacuating? It seemed the guy was making
I got a new
preparations
brand.
to face the storm head on. It was at this moment that Terrence decided to record this guy and publish him for the first time to TikTok, introducing him as real-life Lieutenant Dan.
This brand, it makes good pizza. Store-bought, yeah. It's warmed up in the oven. Want to go to Hawaii? Me too, bro. Fuck yeah. In your pocket.
And a legend was born.
We're here with the real life Lieutenant Dan. Big hurricane coming. What are you gonna say to the hurricane?
Fuck you. You want me? Come and get me.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Dan became an
Bro's
integral
nuts.
part of
The
Terrence's
Red
documentation.
Baron, Hawaii meetup win. That costs thousands per person. No, I think it's a brick oven, red brick oven, something like that.
Regarding the oncoming storm.
remember.
And it would soon
Something
become
like
clear
that.
that Lieutenant Dan had no plans to evacuate. Many people would become concerned and follow his
So you wanna go
developments
back?
closely.
All
On
right,
September
Flexer.
26, Terrence filmed Joseph in the midst of
Bro,
anchoring
Jerry
his
got
boat
motion
down
chat.
in preparation for the storm.
We're live on the
Don't
scene
sleep.
here. We got
She really got motion like that, bro. I don't know how, but she knows the guy, knows the guy, knows the guy. Sure got money. I don't know about her pocket, but she knows people, bro. People know her.
So Lieutenant Dan, he's anchoring down. This is what he got working with today.
So if you need somebody,
It's gonna
hit
hold or
Jerry.
what?
Yeah, it's gonna work.
It's gonna work, huh?
I've never been.
Gotta keep my ass
Pockets are
on this
empty.
side of these poles.
She's got a gun.
Once I get on those side of the poles, I'm in your world. And I want
Japan,
that in
me
my
too.
world.
Italy, Japan, Hawaii.
To be honest.
Top 3 places I want to
Full
go.
hole. These tires, these. Yeah.
Give me a sugar parent. Rick's like, I need a parent. Mom, dad. I don't give a fuck. Just somebody.
But I don't believe that. I think it's fine.
It looked as if Joseph was going to face the storm right there, making his
2-4,
own biblical
top.
stand against the elements.
Japan.
Later that afternoon,
Who's been in
as
Japan,
tides
chat?
were beginning to get higher, Terrence would check in on Lieutenant Dan.
What's the farthest you've traveled, chat?
Yet again. And surprisingly, despite the deteriorating weather conditions, he was still in
Thailand.
high spirits and in no hurry to go anywhere. Joseph
Heard
looked
good
like he
things
was
about
about to go on
Thailand.
a Sunday
New
fishing
Jersey.
trip, and he was waiting for his buddies to show up. He was totally unfazed. While viewers admired
Utah.
his gumption regarding the dire circumstances
That
at
ass
hand,
hurt.
there's no way around it. Being in a boat during a hurricane is quite the precarious situation, and many
I guess from your original spawn point of Ohio, yeah, that's a good distance.
people thought he was going to die. People requested more and more updates, and Terrence would do the best that he could to provide them. Later that night, at around 9 p.m.,
was
amidst
thinking
storm
Texas.
surge and high tides, Terrence would wade through floodwaters to check in on Joseph. As you can see in this clip, the ocean had literally submerged the dock, and Joseph's
good
boat can be
distance.
seen rocking
That
around.
is.
The seaman emerges from the cockpit to provide blue-balled fans with a much-anticipated update.
Dan, we need an interview. There he is. There's our guy. Yup, look at him. Yay! How we doing? Give the people an update.
It is kind of crazy how he survived that hurricane.
Good. We're staying on this side
I
of
love
the
him.
pole. But it's actually still low tide. If you can believe that.
He says it's still low tide when it's a 3 hours high tide, but
When asked why he decided to endure all of this, for him, it was to protect the homestead.
why did you decide to stick this hurricane out on a 13-foot sail?
But it's my home. It's all I got.
With the storm overhead,
crazy.
updates ceased and Hurricane Helene wreaked havoc. Helene had arrived in Florida and was about to
Moo-moo.
make its presence known in a big
Oh,
way.
dog.
Hurricane Helene would go on to become the deadliest tropical
Florida.
cyclone to hit the United States mainland since Hurricane Katrina in
God
2005. One thing that is remarkable about this storm is that the majority of deaths from Helene were a result of inland
lot.
flooding in states like Georgia, Tennessee, and most notably
Turk, what category was Hurricane Helene? Do you know off the top of your head? Turk's a weather god. He knows all about weather stuff.
North Carolina, the destruction
Dan
from
thumped
which
it
is
out.
still being cleaned up
Bro, this is my hometown, or at least near it.
to this day. Though in Florida, many lives were lost as well. 12 people would perish in the Tampa Bay area alone. Was
5 in some
Dan one of
areas.
them? The next morning, Tampa Terrence went to the dock that Joseph had been moored at the night before. He half expected the boat and Joseph to be gone. But sure enough, Dan was still there.
No
Lieutenant Dan had
way.
not only survived, but his boat remained completely intact.
That's
Apparently,
crazy.
he had to reposition his boat at one point during the night, but said after that he slept through everything like a baby. To him, it was no big deal, like it was just a little wind.
It was a little
That's
rough.
crazy.
About 11:30, I repositioned the boat, and I was heading into the wind, and I slept like a baby from 12:30 to 5 o'clock this morning.
That's
I
crazy.
woke up twice to pee.
Wasn't
That was it.
before.
But other
Wow.
than that, I mean, it's been a great night.
He even quipped that his boat was improved by the storm, saying
Through a
that
hurricane?
it got a good wash from the rain.
I've been through a small one.
Terrence's TikToks with Lieutenant Dan had garnered something of a cult following, with many invested in the sailor's survival story. His successful stunt had made him something of an internet legend. In the space of a few days, this guy had become a sort of bizarro influencer. And Lieutenant Dan would receive more than just online praise, as there would be some potential financial reward for his survival stunts as well. With all the attention that the guy was receiving,
Watching it.
Tampa Terrence decided to help Lieutenant
Screenshots.
Dan set up a
Damn.
GoFundMe. The idea
I've
was to
never been
raise
to a
enough
big
money to
hurricane.
get the
I was in an earthquake the other day on stream. I remember. I was like, what the fuck?
one-legged swashbuckler a newer boat. Terrence would make a post to his TikTok promoting a GoFundMe fundraiser, which would eventually reach over $40,000. This act of generosity, though, would end up being a catalyst for drama that was to come later.
were
But as
destroyed.
for the time, things were running smoothly.
boil- what are you
Tampa
making?
Terrence's TikTok with Dan's
Ramen?
content continued to grow, bringing with it new adoring fans who were all interested.
What's the worst kind of storm Texas gets? Like, what? You guys get like lightning storms really bad, or like for North Carolina, there's some heavy winds and rainstorms. Like the rain gets crazy sometimes.
In Dan's exploits.
But I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to everybody that donated and your well wishes and everything.
You guys be
It
getting
really meant a
earthquakes
lot.
in Texas?
This was really the only sort of update for a while. But interest around Lieutenant Dan would skyrocket again when forecasters had determined that a new
You know me so
storm
well.
was brewing and had its eye on Tampa. Yes, there was another hurricane on the way, and it was a big one. Hurricane Milton was approaching the Tampa Bay area
you
at
familiar with
speed.
Milton,
Milton
Turk?
was an unusual hurricane in that it had formed in the Gulf of Mexico. Most tropical storms and hurricanes that we tend to see hit the Florida area.
Dude, I remember when I did my Dallas shows, right when I left, I remember landing. And like, I was going to stream that day. I got back from the Uber and I was like, gonna stream at like an hour before streams. I was setting up and I looked, and it was like picture of Dallas completely covered in dirt. It was like dirt dust storm settles into Dallas was like that line, and it was like the whole like air and the sky was orange.
Area start in the Atlantic.
And like planes were down, like some planes weren't taking off because all the dirt and dust. And I was like, damn, bro. If I would have stayed literally 6 or 8 hours longer, I could have been stuck in a dust storm in Dallas. From that night. Yeah, no, it literally happened as I was leaving.
Off the coast of Africa.
It's a sign, Turk.
But record warm
happens.
temperatures in the Gulf allowed Milton to
We broke
intensify very
Osby's
quickly.
curse and
The storm reaching Category 5 at multiple occasions.
Unleashed.
And forecasters were saying this storm was going to be extremely
Broke the
deadly,
mummy's curse.
especially if it hit the populated area of Tampa,
crazy.
like it seemed to be heading towards.
Oh yeah, and fucking Colorado had those fucking wildfires. How close were the wildfires actually to you? In the nation, are the guys have fucking wildfires like California? So,
Lieutenant Dan got to work.
Yeah, so I took the boat out and now I'm in the middle of a hurricane. But at least I have internet access. It's online.
Tampa Terrence would capture much of Dan's preparation efforts on camera. And
why did he give him 2 shoes? He only has 1 leg.
checked in on him frequently during Milton's buildup. During one of these visits, Joseph would give Terrence a tour of the interior of his boat, and later in the evening, he would explain to viewers how he actually had lost his leg. It's like he was lure dumping here.
16 years old, and I was a virgin. I wanted to change it that day. Me and my girlfriend had it all worked out. And on the way to her house, I'm driving my scooter. And I took my eyes off the road for a second. I just stopped at the jewelry store. I picked up a gold chain for her. I'm on my way to her house. And we had a family friend that owned a gas station up here on the right. So I took my eyes off the road to see who was working that day. And when I came back around, there was you right there. Not you.
Oh, yeah.
But a car stopped right in front of me. I ran into him doing about 45. Went up, hit my leg on the back windshield, shattered that, broke my femur, had a compound tib and fib, fracture, severed the femoral artery.
While the storm before
God
was certainly
damn.
destructive, staying
Bro's driving a scooter too fast. Can't buy 1 shoe.
for Milton seemed
Was
like
that fake? I have no idea. It
a
was
death
fake.
sentence due to its initial Category 5 status. Viewers were extremely concerned for Lieutenant Dan and believed that he might not make it through this one. Dan, though, was completely unfazed by the ominous forecast, explaining that he felt the safest place to be in a potential flood caused by a hurricane was in a boat.
I mean, it's a little bit of logic, but when all the debris is washing you into buildings and then crushing your boat up into tiny little splinters because of the force of the water and all the debris that washes you in, I mean, it's it's not really the safest place.
The people that are new, explain to them why you're deciding to stick out a Category 5, one of the worst hurricanes in Tampa history, out on a 20-foot sailboat in Tampa Harbor.
God told me to come out here and get a boat. I came out here and got a boat. And everything that he's been telling me over the last 2 days is I'm doing the right thing. He's got my
God,
back.
I mean,
I'm in
hey,
good shape. I
he
ain't
survives.
We're gonna ride this one out. We got set up the way we know what we're doing, and as long as the water just keeps rising, we'll be fine.
Will you be wearing a life jacket?
Hell no.
That same day, news media outlets descended on the harbor, all hoping for a slice of the Lieutenant Dan pie that was going around on social
That's crazy, bro. People are interviewing him on his boat. Did he survive?
media. He had become a local celebrity in short
The
time.
Chucky shirt. It's
On
been
October 8th,
wild.
an evacuation order was put in place for Tampa Bay zones A and B. Experts were warning that the potential damage from Milton could be catastrophic, with storm surges up to 15 feet. Predictions were looking bleak. In light of these ominous forecasts, Joseph was visited by the chief of police, who offered to give him shelter. This was after Joseph had stated on a TikTok live that if someone helped him find a place to stay, then he would leave his boat to ensure his own safety. This actually appeared to be an offer Lieutenant Dan had accepted, with there being reports surfacing around this time that the boat was
They wanted his pie.
empty.
that
However,
cream
any
pie.
chatter suggesting that he had taken
We
up
had
the
friends
offer from
stay
the
at our
chief of
house.
police would be proven
Wow.
wrong the following day, as around this time Joseph was seen back aboard his boat. It appeared he was fully committing to riding out the storm. Dan would
Bro loves the Lieutenant Dan bit, bro.
explain to the media around this time that he didn't have a vehicle to evacuate if he wanted to. And he said the boat was his home and his fate was in God's hands.
I don't fear the
Damn.
storm. I don't fear anything, but
Sometimes God sends the police chief to offer you a place to stay and get you out of there. And that's God's blessing.
the government, the police, the mayor, everybody's trying to get me to leave in the worst way. I wish they would leave me alone. If nobody saw me on TikTok, I'd be out here by myself right now, doing the same thing I'm doing right now, just sitting here. They don't do anything to help you. They just tell you that you have to leave, that it's a flood zone or whatever, and that you have to evacuate. Well, where am I supposed to go? And how am I supposed to get there? I don't have a car. I don't have
Bro, I'm sure Tampa Terrence or anybody would let you stay with them, bro. You're like famous.
anywhere to go. And then you're telling me you're going to put me in a shelter. I'm not going to a shelter. I've been to shelters and I've seen what goes on, and I'm doing my own thing. And if I'm risking my life, then so be it. I'm in God's hands. God sent me here. He sent me here. He told me to come here. He told me to be right here for this. So I'm doing what he told me to do. So I know he didn't send nobody to get me out of here. And anybody that tries to get me out of here, they're not of God, because God told me that this is where I'm supposed to be. And that's why I'm doing it.
Damn, Florida man, chat. With bedbugs, so he's not wrong.
So
And you're not worried at all.
Bedbugs
and everything's gonna be
dying in
all
a
I'm not worried,
hurricane.
because my life, this is nothing compared to what I've been through, so this doesn't scare me. This is not even a minor inconvenience, because all that's going to happen is everybody's going to get wet, but I'm going to be fine because I'm in a boat that floats. Again, the water's on the outside. Now the wind, yes, the wind's going to pick up, but my anchor is tied to the dock. I'm not going to go anywhere.
You got this.
So it's all going to be good. I'm going to be fine.
All right, man.
God's got my
Everyone's praying
back.
for you.
The next day, news
crazy.
correspondent Brian Eaton would catch up with
Lord,
Joseph
man.
on the boat. And when the
Lord, man.
reporter asked if he was okay, Joseph didn't seem to understand why people were still
great.
worried about him. He was totally confident in himself, again comparing himself to Noah in the big flood.
Calm down.
Are you gonna be okay?
Bro, don't make me calm down, bro. What's all this sass and attitude? I was messing with you, damn. Live your life.
Okay.
I'm going to be fine.
I don't think people realize you're so close to down. I mean, you could just get off if something bad happened. You know what I mean?
I'm not going anywhere because the safest place to be is on a boat in a flood. Okay, we learned that with Noah. Everybody that stayed on land drowned. Noah and the animals lived. So I'm fine.
Do you have any animals?
No, I wish I did.
Okay.
I could use 2 females.
It's funny to me how this guy manages to both be irritated and unbothered at the same time. Like there's a hurricane closing in and he's just like, fuck off, leave me alone.
How to live on
Later
a
that
boat, a
afternoon,
yacht.
Brian would check in on Joseph again, this time finding him making final preparations. In spite of the potential damages, Lieutenant Dan was more than optimistic about his situation. For many, this would be a scary experience, but for him, it was just another Wednesday.
And
Business
Christ on
as
the
usual.
cross.
That evening, as Milton got underway, footage started circulating online of a sailboat being smashed against the dock in raging waters. Its mast was broken and waves were crashing into an open cockpit. It was a harrowing sight, as fans of Lieutenant Dan feared it was his. Thankfully, after closer inspection, it was discovered that the boat in the video wasn't actually Lieutenant Dan's. But the question remained, how was this guy actually doing?
Let's test
Well,
them.
that would soon be answered. Seems the notorious live
fuck
streamer
this guy.
Aiden Ross had
What up,
become
Liz?
invested in Lieutenant Dan's plight, and the two would actually link up on a live stream during the hurricane, with Dan joining remotely from the boat. During this stream, Aiden announced that he would be paying for Lieutenant Dan to get a new boat, which would cost anywhere between like $50,000 to $100,000. Aiden also said that he would be.
Why are boats so goddamn expensive, bro? That's funny, come on. Potty with the yachty. Brother. My brother. What kind of pizza did you get? That's crazy.
Getting Lieutenant Dan a full-time deal on Kick. This was just yet another sign to Dan that his mission was a noble one.
We were able to come up. I'm going to be able to pay for a boat for you. We're going to get you a nice boat in the range of $50,000 to $100,000. And we're going to get you a full-time Kick deal, which is a live streaming deal where you can stream your entire voyages and all your adventures. And you could have a passive income come in. And you're going to be, you're going to have a Kick deal, man, a live streaming deal. So you could live stream and connect with fans all over the world, and they could really see your adventure,
half pepperoni,
man.
half cheese breadsticks.
Wow. Thank you.
It seemed everything was coming together for Joseph. He was going to get a new
Or
boat and a
does
new
it?
job, essentially. But he still had to
Like,
endure and
jeez, that's
survive the
fucking-
storm.
wait, from where?
While its wind and storm surge were already a
Where'd you get it
serious
from?
threat, Milton went on to spawn a deadly tornado outbreak, which ended up killing 32 people.
Damn!
With so many stories of
I didn't know, dude, 32 people died?
death and destruction, it would be reasonable
Holy
to
Little
think his quest
Caesars.
turned into a fool's gambit.
I know Little
But when the
Caesars did
next
half
day
out, that's
came and the
gas.
skies cleared, Lieutenant Dan emerged the victor in this battle against Mother Nature. Despite the severity of everything he was up against, Joseph had survived the night unharmed. The only real damage or loss experienced was a $250 anchor that he had to leave behind after being forced to cut it free during the storm's wrath. Lieutenant Dan would be caught peeking his head out of the boat as floodwaters subsided. Tampa Terrence would meet Joseph at his boat, and despite the night being a rough one, it seemed as if everything was a-okay.
He survived. He's alive.
Holy shit, I
Lieutenant
made it.
Dan made it. He made it, guys. Let's go. Come on. He's alive. Spirits are high.
Hey, how you doing?
Let's go. Give the people an update. How was it?
I was in fear for my life all night. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was ready to call 911 twice. And I thought about it and I said, what am I, fucking crazy?
Let's go. He's alive, guys.
On October
That's
10th,
crazy.
Joseph's story of 2 hurricanes survived would be picked up by numerous media outlets, all of which wanting to
That's
find out why
nuts.
the stubborn sailor refused to abandon this boat.
It's not even $10? Bro, Little Caesar, I don't know. Long living with 32 people, still nuts, bro. That's crazy. You think he'll survive a third one, chat? Like
He was
the
becoming a
odds?
bona fide social media star. The man was even honored with a special operations badge by the Tampa Bay police. Joey was a beacon of light
Special operations. He just laid in a sailboat and prayed nothing fucking happened to it.
for locals in the
He's
midst of
immortal.
otherwise very sad
2
developments.
hurricanes.
Says Special Operations Tampa Police. And I've been Special Operations for God for the last 10 years.
You really couldn't ask for a better ending to Lieutenant Dan's
Start
hurricane
spinning.
arc.
That's
Thanks to the
crazy.
sheer unbridled stubbornness and a bit of charisma mixed with the power of TikTok, he had become a social media star and was on the fast track to make income off of his cantankerous antics. But as with many who rocket up in the online world so quickly, this attention tends to expose previously unseen blemishes
What
in
makes him
one's character.
awful.
But let's table that thought and briefly focus on Tampa Terrence,
It'll get
Dan's
into it, I'm
collaborator
sure.
in all of this, if you will. Many people were accusing Tampa T of using
I like
Lieutenant Dan
how he's building Lieutenant Dan up as this great guy, and then just to like fucking plot twist and like rip your heart out when we learn what a POS is.
clout, and saying that he put Joseph at risk for the sake of content. They said Terrence could have done more to get Dan off of the boat, which, I mean, Jesus, you guys cry about everything. You really think there was anything Terrence could have done to stop Dan from doing this? Terrence would adeptly address these rumors in a TikTok post, elaborating that he literally did everything he could to get the guy off of the boat, but Joseph refused at every turn. And I most certainly believe this to be the case, considering it's Joseph.
Dan is not leaving the boat for the hurricane. He is staying on that boat. There has been many attempts to get him off this boat. People have offered houses, hotel rooms, apartments. He will not leave. So for all the people saying, get him a hotel, you're trying to get him to stay on the boat, we have all tried to get him to leave. The mayor, Tampa police, me, a bunch of other people. He will not leave, guys. So do not put that on me. He's a grown man. At the end of the day, he makes his own decisions.
There were also some online who were accusing Tampa Terrence of grifting off of Lieutenant Dan's accomplishment, alleging Terrence was planning to steal the GoFundMe money due to his name being a beneficiary on it. And there were some tinfoil hatters who thought the entire story itself was a big work, making conspiracy theories that Lieutenant Dan wasn't even a struggling homeless person at all and that he was like a fucking paid actor to fleece the public. I'm not saying you have to look a certain way to be homeless, but this guy clearly was legit struggling to get by. I don't think he was cosplaying having one leg and 0 possessions. I'm pretty sure he was the real deal. Terrence went on to say that he was most definitely going to give the GoFundMe money to Lieutenant Dan, explaining there were some complications with transferring the money immediately because Joseph didn't have a form of ID to access a bank account.
I set him up the GoFundMe, and all that money is going to him, 100% of the money. He has no bank account, no ID, so it is tricky right now getting him the money.
That's
but
crazy.
He will get all of that money.
No ID,
so
no
when
bank
Terrence
account.
Proved his critics wrong.
He had a
It
boat,
seemed these scrutinists out there then shifted their skepticism at
I guess
Joseph.
a boat can be
Once the
home.
floodgates open in online drama,
risked
there's
their life
really
for
no way
that.
of closing them until things run their course.
He's just crazy
when the
Florida
critics couldn't
man.
pin Terrence on anything, they redirected their inquiries into Lieutenant Dan himself. It wouldn't be long until people started Googling Joseph's full name and digging deeper into his past. His criminal history was uncovered, which included a misdemeanor for selling
That is a lot of mugshots, bro. That's like a crazy amount of times to be arrested, bro. What up, Jep? Like how homeless people can have cars. Exactly. A lot of people sleep in their cars. You'd be surprised. You probably know a couple people who like work with you or you blah, blah, they just sleep in their car.
Rating or using a vessel without a certificate of title in Hillsborough County, Florida.
Nice.
This raised
I did once. Was your mugshot fire?
some questions about the actual ownership of his iconic sailboat, as it was allegedly not even registered to him. It was also reported that in April of 2022, Joseph had served a 1-year prison sentence after being charged with a felony for punching a police officer in the nose.
Damn.
The unregistered boat thing, that's not that bad, but shellacking a cop on the schnoz,
I was homeless.
that's a little...
So I haven't seen my mugshot. You have a mugshot for what? I would have needed to live my car from my part at.
A little bit harder to defend. The story goes that Joseph was asked to leave a bar, and when a deputy intervened and attempted to handcuff him, Joseph swung on him. The deputy then reportedly swung back. After being arrested, Joseph reportedly pissed himself while in the back of the police car. Later, the man attempted to represent himself in court and was convicted by jury within a day. There was another alleged incident.
Damn, that's crazy. Just enough room for the two.
In 2023, when Joseph was alleged to
have committed perjury on a homicide case. That's fucking nuts. Bro, why? Why'd you lie?
have gotten into an argument with a woman while the two were sitting on separate benches at a park. Joseph then allegedly poured a 1-gallon container of gasoline onto the bench between the two and ignited it. According to an affidavit, Joseph then allegedly tried to splash the woman with gas. Later, Joseph would be charged with aggravated.
Bro tried to set someone on fire too, Chad.
Aggravated battery with
Sure did.
the deadly weapon and was sentenced to
I'm
house
in love with a criminal.
arrest by a judge. This guy, man, who would have thought that the individual who wanted to stay on his boat twice during hurricanes would be this unhinged? You just couldn't imagine it. After all of Joseph's
her
criminal
name
history
Rain?
was brought to the attention of the public, opinions on him began to sour a bit. It didn't help matters that his newfound fame had seemingly brought out a more arrogant and cocky personality that wasn't really seen in the original videos of him surviving the storms. People fell in love with the idea of him being this wholesome, badass internet hero, but
Why you hate me so much? Bro, I love you. He looked like he was so unhinged. Ex's mom ran over her boyfriend. My ex's mom ran over her boyfriend and killed him with me. Sorry, didn't add up. God damn.
there seemed to be more to the guy.
And people, as far as the chance goes, all right, leave me the frick alone with that
That's
too.
crazy lore.
You don't want me to go hood. I'm a chameleon. I could change my act like that. And I got the nuts to back it up.
He's gonna go hood on us, chat.
So, I could be nice as a butterfly or sting like a bee. What do you want?
It wasn't just accusations of fraud that were coming his way.
That's crazy.
People were calling him a woman beater. There were also some accusing him of possessing
Are
CP
scary.
and allegedly kidnapping and R-wording a 10-year-old. Yeah, it got ugly out there. Though we must be clear that these social media accusations were conclusively debunked when it was clarified that people had actually gotten the wrong person mixed up with Joseph. There was a guy named John Malinowski who had been arrested for those crimes, and there was a
Damn.
registered sex offender named Joseph Malinowski, but if you look at the picture, it's clearly not the same guy.
10-year-old.
Though still, all of
That crime was
this
fake.
drama surrounding Joseph was affecting people's willingness
To
to work
witness
with him.
it.
Around
I have all the receipts. I don't need to lie about being a felon. That's not a flex. Bro, we believe you. It's not that I don't believe you.
this time, it was rumored that Aiden Ross had actually reneged on the kick deal that he promised to Joseph, and Lieutenant Dan was pissed about this, believing Aiden had cut him off because of the false accusations. The situation surrounding Dan
That's
continued to
crazy.
worsen even further. Lieutenant Dan's fame had sadly gotten the attention of
You can't go to Japan.
actual grifters and alleged scammers
We'll sneak
who
her
attempted
out.
to take advantage
Don't
of
worry.
him in various ways. One person had tricked Dan into signing into his TikTok account
Believe me.
on their phone. This
Stop.
individual
Bro, that's why I try not to witness things. I try to be minding my own business.
then reportedly inserted a clothing line link into Lieutenant Dan's bio without his knowledge. To make things even worse, Dan was made to believe that it was Terrence who had done this and taken over the account.
Terrence, what did I tell you yesterday? And what I'm telling you now is that when I gave you you took my phone, he added my TikTok, he added my Facebook. Wait a minute, okay? He added this shit to the iPhone, and I thought you guys were giving
That's crazy. Why wear sunglasses and it's off my record. You got that shit expunged. You call Scott Drake?
me that iPhone. And then right before we're leaving, he goes, oh, give me that iPhone back. And I had to actually grab it out of his hand and say, I want to shut down my TikTok. Because he now had my account on the freaking iPhone of his. All day today, in my bio, there was a link to a clothing line that had pictures of my face on shirts. There must have been, I don't know how many of them. I don't know anything about this. I don't know where this came from. Somebody added that shit to my TikTok page.
But you think that he would do it though if he's the one?
Who did it?
But you would think that.
And then the GoFundMe
Yeah,
page.
no, but like.
Everything that has been done has been
My $4,000 lawyer was on it. Damn, 4K. Attorney at law.
for him.
Yeah,
Like
that's what-
everything
yeah.
is for him.
He felt that Tampa
Yeah, they-
Terrence was completely exploiting him.
All right, that was some really fucking funny shit that you go to a house that is a fucking weird place and there's fucking sandbags in front of the door. We gotta move them to get into the house.
Makes sense with the hurricane.
As of now, nobody's been there all day.
Pick on them heavy ass sandbags.
Huh?
And what was the reason?
Pick up the sandbag.
And what was the reason for going to the house? What did we say? We're gonna set you up with a bank account.
He told me that in front of you. He said,
I said that to you. We the whole plan.
Yes.
We brought you to Publix.
Don't fuck yourself up.
Like, why are you doing this right now, man? Come on. All I've tried to do is help you.
It's safe to say that the relationship
Bro tried to cast a bad light on Tampa Terrence when Tampa Terrence put him on to begin with. Without Tampa Terrence, he would just be some homeless broke guy living on a boat in the hurricane.
between these two was stormy at best. There was a lot of confusion and paranoia, especially because of money that was now involved. And many online were backing Dan, calling Terrence a scammer, but they weren't getting the full story.
People to court.
The next day, Terrence would post a TikTok giving his side of what had become a controversy surrounding Dan apparently not getting the GoFundMe money.
I mistakenly put the GoFundMe under my friend's name as a way to get the $2,500 out quick and give it to him and be done with it. I have done all the research and have reached out to Tampa police who are willing to help Joe get an ID and expedite this process so we can retrieve the other $35,000 in GoFundMe. I have retrieved all the money that was sent to my friend and I've gotten $7,000 in cash, and which will I be giving to him today. The rest of the money will be sent to Dan as soon as he gets his bank account information set. I'm sad to see where this has all gone to, and I really hope that this can all be resolved and we can all just move on with our lives.
Dan confirmed that Terrence did advance him the $7,000 of the GoFundMe sum.
Well, he said he probably shouldn't have done it like that. Look at Shower Seekins.
Have doubts that he would actually receive the rest of the $30,000 plus total. Though there is blame on his behalf too, because if he had access to his bank account, none of this would be an issue.
In the meantime, Terrence came up with the 7,000 and made his freaking video in broad daylight in public by I don't know how many freaking paparazzis he had with him to give me my $7,000 and wide open and say, "Here's the $7,000 I owe Jay. So here you go."
Now, Britt, you know better than that.
That's a lot.
You know where we at? We in Tampa. We right here out the back.
What up, Jay?
You right by the house.
Go on Google. You can go on Google right now and type in Lieutenant Dan's boat, and it dropped a pin right here.
After this back and forth of accusations, Terrence distanced himself from Joseph, and with this good faith actor out of the picture, others would swoop in and make efforts to court Lieutenant Dan. One particular
motherfucking Drake. The 100 bits. The parlays must be hitting. Drake's giving me a little bit of love. Thank you for the fucking 100 bits. Chat, it's Monday, brand new week. Let's turn the fuck up. Thank you so much.
Influencer, who some believed was using Dan for clout, was the individual we just showed on screen.
This guy's a clout demon. Like, it's this guy to hang out with you because he thinks he get popular, make money off you.
Screen. Check the star.
200%.
A TikTok creator and SoundCloud rapper known for working with influencers like Aaron Carter and the Island Boys. Check the Star began interacting with Dan after he had driven to Tampa to document the aftermath of Hurricane Milton, along with publicly stating that he was there to seek out the social media star in Dan.
I'm headed to Tampa right now. We're going to cover all the footage right now of all the disaster that happened in Tampa, and we're going to find Lieutenant Dan too. We're on a hunt for him too.
On October 11th, the spiral continued when Lieutenant Dan decided to demonstrate his verbal eloquence in a debut stream on Kick. The event resulted in his stream being cut off and the man being reportedly banned.
If you want to get back into my good graces, you're going to have to take time. It's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to be hard. Because once I cut you off, you're done, nigga. Sorry. All right.
At least he said sorry.
Damn, I didn't know about that. That's a week till Vegas. Miss you, Turk, bro. Deadass. Deadass. My own city.
The following day, Joseph's daughter went public and talked about her worries regarding her father and the fame he was receiving. She was concerned about an alleged ongoing drug issue, believing the public attention and money that he was receiving could lead him to spiraling and ending up in an early grave. She also spoke about how she thought certain influencers were taking advantage of her dad for clout. On October 13th, the day after Ann had gone public, Aiden Ross would announce that he had officially rescinded the Kick deal from Lieutenant Dan, claiming that he had actually given it to Tampa Terrence instead. Ouch.
No longer giving Lieutenant Dan a Kick deal, but I'm giving the deal to Terrence. Terrence is going to go around Tampa IRL streaming, and he's going to help out homeless people and help out people that are in need. And we're going to give him a budget every day to go IRL stream and give out and bless people.
Aiden did clarify that he still intended on giving Joseph the boat that he promised, only if the guy was able to stay clean and off of drugs.
We still want to help Lieutenant Dan, known as Joe, by giving him a boat, but we also want to make sure that he's staying sober and does it the right way.
So Lieutenant Dan, of course, has a different side of the story, saying that he actually rejected Aiden's kick deal and was going to start streaming on his own TikTok page, which went about as well as you would imagine, considering his inexperience with technology and whatnot.
Yes, Lieutenant Dan, you are a rapist. You are a disgusting person. What did you do to that innocent girl?
That's crazy. Bro's getting trolled on TikTok.
Sorry, guys. Okay, and now I'm a racist. Once I cut you off, you're done, nigga.
Joseph also considered suing Terrence, and Check the
shot.
Star
Oh my
would attempt to
God.
beef with Terrence and Aiden Ross via social media. Terrence refused to nibble, simply wishing the guy the best, and Aiden was just too big to really give a fuck about any of this. As far as the GoFundMe situation went, Lieutenant Dan had gotten $7,000 from Terrence. And it seemed after all the drama, Terrence wasn't too keen on helping Dan get a bank account and receive the rest of it. So with this being the case, Dan, to his credit, actually suggests that donators simply request a refund because of how fucked things had gotten.
I spoke to a lady from the GoFundMe company, and
Why does this motherfucker not just get a bank account?
they said they were going to work with me and this and that and blah, 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 and that they couldn't put it in my name. And now, that, from what I'm hearing, they want to put it in my name, and they can't release it until I get an ID and all that. Well, I can't jump through hoops. I don't want it, and I'm getting a lot of flack from some people saying they want a refund.
Bro, this guy is over here talking about, oh, I want my 40, 50. Bro, go get a fucking ID, dog. Damn.
So I'm not taking the money out of GoFundMe. Let them go ahead and refund it to all the donators. I already got $7,000. I believe in my heart that at least out of that $40-some thousand total, that $7,000 of it was meant for me, and meant for me because I'm me, not because there was a man behind the camera. That gave me
To get an ID.
the name of Lieutenant Dan.
Bro's just a lazy homeless crackhead, bro. He doesn't want to go get an ID. Like, so many people like are on the streets like, oh, I can't get into a shelter, I can't get government assistance, I can't get clean because I can't get any of this assistance because I need an ID. Well, go through the process of getting the ID. You gotta grind. You gotta get some shit done.
And my name ain't Dan. And I've never been in the Army. Never been in the movies either. Not yet.
You can see that the total sits at over $40,000 today. And from what I understand, that money has just been sitting there, or it was entirely refunded to the donors. Things would only get worse for the miserable mariner, as on October 17th, he was warned by authorities for not having an accessible marine sanitation device aboard his vessel, as well as not having a record showing proper disposal of waste. He basically was being accused of shitting up the water. Dan was asked to leave, but the following morning when authorities checked back, he was still there, and so he was subsequently arrested and charged with trespassing. And it was also discovered that he had 2 outstanding warrants for failing to appear in court. Check the Star would post an update stating that Joseph was waiting to see a lawyer and that they were hoping he could be let out on ROR, or released on your own recognizance, which is basically where you're released from jail before your trial without posting bail. Basically, you promise not to run before your trial.
I don't think he's
the issues
running.
with the boat that we spoke about earlier, it was now impounded and Joseph couldn't afford to get it taken out. He claimed it was a big conspiracy from the mayor of Tampa Bay in order to get
What
him
up
to
to
leave
his
the city.
7K?
God had my back. He told me to come here.
How do they know who he is without an ID? He must have given his real name at some point. That's crazy.
But now I lost the boat. I can't get it back. It's priced out of my price range. They want $6,000 at least.
Once he was out of jail, Dan would continue working with Check the Star, reportedly living with him and appearing in some of the guy's videos. There was even a point where Check the Star had taken him to get a prosthetic leg, but Dan never fully went through with it, and it wouldn't take long before these two started beefing. In late October, there was some sort of falling out between Check
I mean, he's running.
The star and
Dang.
Dan.
It's
Reportedly,
insane.
Joseph felt as if Check the
What?
Star
I'm just saying.
was using him for clout and accused the influencer of trying to kidnap him. Check the Star would make a series of TikTok videos in an attempt to expose Dan for being a two-face and a liar.
Alright guys, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. I just want to say, like, I wish nothing but the best for Lieutenant Dan. I only showed up to help him secure his social media stuff, make sure that he was monetized on all platforms. I didn't mean no hate. I didn't mean no hate to Tampa Terrence and none of this stuff. It's just bad that I invested so much time and energy, used my face card to help somebody that was so ungrateful. And you treated me like nothing and said I was trying to kidnap you? Are you serious? You're a whole grown man with a scooter and keys. You could have left whenever you wanted to.
With all of his...
Bro, this is crazy. The money could give him a leg up. Then he could have ran. Use my face card. I mean, real.
His content...
That's what Drake does for hoes in the community.
Creator relationships burned. Dan, now boatless, was on his own.
He dropped a diss track on Aiden Ross.
Fuck Aiden Ross. You know who it is. It's the biggest man. King of the sea.
I want my boat back. Told me on that valve shit. How them crackers came around and impounded it. I had that Zaw on the boat. Milton ain't as loud as it. Catch no killers, but...
You're saying it's T if you swiping.
With nowhere to stay
That's
and the
crazy,
city of
bro. This is not
Tampa
real.
seemingly
This is what happened to fucking Lieutenant Dan.
having enough of him,
no.
Dan would relocate to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He would somehow get a hold of another boat there and does still post a TikTok, but to say interest in his activities have waned would be an understatement. Dan's behavior after becoming famous for his hurricane stunt scorned most of the people who initially fell in love with him. And it seems he's now experiencing something of a post-fame downward spiral, with him being arrested on an outstanding warrant as recently as September of 2025.
Hey guys, I'm being picked up by Broward County Sheriff's on an outstanding warrant from Hillsborough. If anybody could post my bond or contact a bondsman, I would appreciate
That's crazy. He's posting to TikTok to get out of jail.
it. I tried to get a hold of my lawyer, John. He was handling the case in Hillsborough, and I never heard from him again, so I thought it was dismissed and handled because that was for the stupid ticket for parking on the dock with my boat when they impounded my sailboat. So if somebody could please look into this and help me out, I really appreciate it. Again, I'll be in Broward County Jail in Florida. Joseph Malinowski, M as in Mary, ALINOWSKI. 50.
That's crazy.
5 years old, 72570. Thank you guys.
The fact that this guy
That's insane. I'm gonna do that, chef. I'm about to get arrested.
from an essential nobody to one of the most popular social media oddballs of 2024, and then back to a nobody again, is a story that we do see play out quite a bit online. Yes, he currently sits at over 600,000 followers on TikTok, but his view count suggests that Lieutenant Dan has all but faded from the public eye. Though I might be speaking a little too soon.
Like, he would be the type to give out his on social
because
media
it is currently
or his
hurricane
phone number.
season, so who knows what the fuck might happen.
Bro, his profile picture. Oh, my face is covering. Heard they don't like me. I don't give a fuck. And it's a picture of fucking baby